afternoon, everyone. This is Kia. I usually go by the Queen because this is Questions with the Queen, but today I'm going to do something a little bit different. As you can see above me, I have two hashtags. One is speaking out, and the second one I put is against abuse. As you all know, we've had some things go around in the WWE that has come to light that has kind of concerned me along with a couple of other people. And again, I'm going to give you my thoughts, I'm going to give you my opinions, I'm going to even share some nitty-gritty stories with you of the abuse that I went through and how I got through it. So, before we jump into it, I want to give credit to the camera guy who is my husband, Steve. He's one half of On the Ring Apron with Kia and Steve. But with that being said, I don't even know where to start. When you think of abuse, what do you think of? What are the words or the sentence or the phrase that comes to mind? I'll give you a minute and I'll wait.
We still have people entering in, but you basically can kind of give your thoughts on the matter. For the record, for those of you who normally join us for the questions section of it, that's not what this is about today. This is more about this speaking out hashtag, and Kia has requested this time to kind of be able to tell her story. So that's what we're here to do today. If you do have any questions or any comments, I'll be happy to relay those to Kia as we go along. But we know that support is there, and appreciate your time and stopping in to show your support.
Okay, now that I've given you a few minutes to sit here and think about the word abuse, I'm going to give you more or less my definition and what I believe it is. Abuse is when you have two, maybe even more people, and you have one person who is physically hurting another person over and over and over and over again. It doesn't matter if it's verbally, it doesn't matter if it's emotionally, it doesn't matter if it's physically, it doesn't matter if it's mentally, it doesn't matter if it's sexually. All those things are, in my mind, abuse. When you have, like, say for example, you have a relationship between, we'll go as far as boyfriend and girlfriend. You've been together, everything's been great, and then you just get to a point and you kind of start seeing like a downfall where the woman is doing everything she's supposed to do, and then you start hearing hurtful stuff like you're fat, or you're ugly, or you're stupid, or who would want you, or you're slow, or in my instance I've heard you're black, you're a dyke, you're fat, you're a cow, you eat too much, I don't see how anybody could love you, your family, your friends. That is verbal abuse. That is the start of any type of abuse and can be the most hurtful if the right words are used. Another form of abuse is physical. Physical abuse is when you put your hands on someone knowing that you're putting your hands on that person and you leave a bruise or a scar or a burn or anything that someone could recognize as they're being abused in a situation. And as I'm speaking on that, a lot of the stuff I'm telling you has happened to me. Another form of abuse is mental. When you mentally get into the mind of someone who you've already verbally hurt, and all they can think in their mind is, this person that's supposed to care about me and love me, that's what they think. That's what everybody else is thinking. That's what I should think of myself. And in your mind, you don't think of any other way. You're not physically strong to think, oh, this is not, what they're saying is not true, because in your mind, it is. Then you have the sexual component to it, which, someone puts themselves on you, either through oral sex or physical sex, or for most, it can be rape. And there's so much that goes with that. And I think my other form of abuse is, I said, mental, physical, verbal, emotional. Emotional abuse is when you, in your mind and in your heart, you're thinking, emotionally, this is how they feel about me. This is what they think of me. This is, I'm an emotional wreck. I don't think I can handle, I cannot manage, I cannot function. This is what it is. Um, if you sense these signs and you see these flags and they're in your face, understand and figure out, how can I get out? How can I leave? What can I do? Who can I talk to? You will have a lot of people who will turn their heads that see these signs and won't sit here and think a second more. And in their mind, they're thinking she's okay, she's fine, it is what it is, it's not my business. But to those that want to reach out and help you, take the help. They're not going to shy away from it. They know that there's something wrong and they're trying to help you. Take that help. Now, from my perspective, like I said, I've been through it all. I was in a relationship of 4 years, and the first 2 years were excellent. This person, he whined me, he dined me, he took care of me, he paid for everything, he took care of my son, he presented himself as an upstanding, loving, compassionate person. And then what I did not see after the first 2 years, going into the second half of our relationship, which would be the second half of it, which would be the 2 years that followed, which was a 4-year relationship, I started noticing he was absent a lot, and I didn't understand why. I'm just assuming, okay, he's off and he's working, but coming to find out, he was cheating. But then would come back and accuse me of cheating, and he would get upset or angry, or let's say he was abusive or pushy or overbearing, to the point that even if I tried to defend myself, I would get slapped or punched or kicked or stepped on or chokehold. The worst thing for me in that situation was to have people sitting there watching this, a crowd of people, as I'm being pinned down on my stomach with his knee in my back, and he's got me in a chokehold. That nobody should have to go through that ever, at all. These same people sat here and said, she deserves it, she's mouthy, she's bitchy. What he's doing, he's putting her in her place. No, what he's doing, he's abusing the love that I had for him. He's taking it and he's flipping what I had and what I was. And anybody that knows me know that I cannot be broken. Ask my husband. I am not someone who could be easily broken. But this person took the time and found all the ways to break me. Not just with verbal, but physical, putting his hands on me. I went through an experience with this person, and no, I'm not going to name a name, and I'm not going to say where this person lives. All you need to know is that it's a man, and he outweighed me, and out-heighted me, obviously, that I was with for 4 years. He put his hands on me, and I'm not just saying, it was a one-time thing, because it wasn't. It happened repeatedly, and it got to the point where you could see physical bruises, and it got worse and worse and worse. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't deserve nothing better. I don't feel that I should be with anybody else, or nobody else would want me. And people started noticing the black eyes and the blue eyes and the busted nose and the swollen lip, and I started losing my hair as well as losing weight. I was walking around thinking I looked cute, and in everybody else's eyes, I looked a mess. You could see my neck bones, you could see my rib bones, you could see where he had burned me with cigarettes, you could see where he had slapped me and punched me and kicked me. And I just sat there and I took it, because I was threatened that if I left this relationship, that the people around me that I cared about, starting with my son Landon, that y'all all know and love, would be killed or hurt or sold off or whatever. And then not only that, he went to my mother, and then my aunt, and then my boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend at the time, the father of my son. And then he started going further and further into my friends. And I'm sitting here thinking, if I stay, it'll be fine. If I leave, it won't be so much. What do I do in this situation? I stuck around and I stayed, seeing all the flags. It got to the point where not only was it verbal and physical. It was a mental game. Try being locked in a room, and to make it even worse, to be locked in a bedroom that is your child, knowing that you cannot get out, and you look and you see a window and you say, okay, I can get out through the window, and then come to find out that the window has been locked. And he takes the time to get a gas can and put gas around the area of the window, and then he puts gas around the outside of the bedroom, and then he lights it on fire. Just take the time to think about that, and think about the situation that I was in that I could not get out of. I couldn't bust through the window, and I couldn't break through the door, and the only reason that I was saved was because the owner of the house had come home and had noticed the chaos that was going on and wanted to know if anybody was in the house. And when the firefighter said, we are thinking that there's one female in the house, the owner literally lost her mind and literally had her boyfriend break through the window to get me out. Think about what would be going through the mind if you were stuck in that situation, not knowing if you're going to live. And of all things, to be in a room where you're looking around the room and it belongs to your child, not knowing. And then on top of that, just imagine fighting with this person it was just a consistent everyday battle. Nothing was good enough for him. I was cheating. He accused me of being with the father of my kid. I was sleeping with everybody else. I was being controlled. He took my phone. He took my internet. He shut off the internet when he left. He locked me in the house. He took my car. Mind you, the car that belonged to me, that was given to me as a gift from my boyfriend and his mother, that they fronted the bill for. Imagine him taking my phone and my car and my keys, leaving me with no way to call anybody to say that I need help. Going even further, I was sexually abused. Now, an abuser will sit here and they will try to forget that they abused anybody, and they'll put it in the back of their mind because they don't want to remember. The abused will put it in the back of their mind and try to forget it. But those are two different things. The abuser who is abusing you will forget because they don't want to remember. The abused will try to forget and try to move on. There is no way. And if you ask my husband, I still live with it, and I go each and every day, and you put up a defense in your mind and in your body that I'm going to stand up for myself and I'm going to defend myself, and you get prepared to fight like there's someone about to hit you. I don't know really what to say besides share my experiences with you. Sexually, I was abused, and there's no way I can take it back. I was raped on multiple occasions, and there was nothing I could do besides take it, because if I didn't, he would try to kill me. He would choke me out with his bare hands and would try to kill me. Or he would choke me out using some means of rope or tie wraps or towels or whatever. So that was just a traumatic experience. And then when I sit here and I tell people about it, nobody believes me. They look at me and they say, she's black, and she's a woman, and she's angry, and he's putting her in her place, and she has a child, so she needs him. Listening to that and hearing that, nobody's going to come forward and nobody's going to want to talk about their situation if they don't have help. I could speak on this forever, but I don't know if I really want to. I know saying this is giving me courage, and hopefully it's giving a lot of other people courage to come out and speak on their abuse and not be stuck in this situation and know that there's someone there. I was lucky, you guys, to have as much as, and I said it yesterday for our PSA, the family that I screwed over was the family that helped me out of my situation. Steven and his mom and his brother and his dad saw me at my worst. And they said, their first question was, after they said hello, was, how are you? And I'd just sit here and I'd cover it up and I'd say, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm well. Knowing that was bullshit. Knowing that I was lying. have you eaten? I remember Steve's mom literally ended up buying me lunch, knowing full well that I was not eating. I was being deprived. Now, mind you, I was the one bringing the food into the house. I was the one paying for the food. I paid my portion. But to deprive me of the food that I bring into the house, I said, as long as my son was eating, that's fine. I don't need to eat. But I wasn't eating, and I was losing weight, and I was tired, and I was clumsy, and I was running into doors. And I remember I saw, and not only, this was one day, I remember another day I ended up seeing Steve's dad. And he spotted me, and I thought, okay, I'm going to get away. He won't be able to talk to me. He asked me, he said hello, and he asked me, how are you doing? Again, I lied because I didn't want to sit here and tell him I'm not doing well. Why would you tell someone that? And he knew that I wasn't doing well, and I know the things that was running through his mind, and the next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call the next day from Steven saying, I need you to be honest with me. I know I'm the last person you want to talk to, but what's going on, and how are you doing, and what can I do to help? Again, Steven was the last person I wanted to talk to. Steven, along with this person's friends, this person's military buddies, and you know he's military at this point. You had people from this person's family saying, there are signs, there are red flags, get out while you can or you'll be hurt, or worse, you'll be dead. It took for me being locked out of the house for several hours at a time, walking around a trailer park thinking, if I don't get out now, I'm going to die. But I said, I'm going to try it, I'm going to deal with it, I'm going to change it. You can't change someone who don't want to be changed, who don't want the help. And in knowing that, I stayed around, and it just got worse. I got beat, and I got tied to beds for days at a time, naked, and hungry, and not being able to see my son, or not knowing if my son is okay, knowing that my son was living in the same situation. And when my son, more or less, Landon asked, am I okay, I put up a front and I said, yes, Mama's fine, she's going to be strong, she's going to get through this. I'm going to tell you right now, Landon wasn't much of a talker, but Landon could feel things emotionally, and he knew something was wrong. I'm doing everything in my power not to cry, but it is hard when you go through a traumatic experience and you can't get out. And you don't know who to turn to or what to do. And I know I'm hitting the same points, but I'm trying to make to where whoever's going through the situation, you don't have to be alone. You don't have to be by yourself. You know that there's help. And the thing that helped me the most was my son Landon. And at the time, my boyfriend Steve, who is now my husband, and his mother, and his father, and even more so his brother, took the time to step out and say, we're going to help you, you need help. And in doing so, I said, if I don't leave this situation, one of two things are going to happen. I'm going to wind up dead, or I'm going to wind up in prison for beating his ass. And then it'll just be that much worse. I'm going to step out for a minute, and I'm going to tell you I will be back, and I will tell you the reason why I'm still here. Give me a minute.
While she steps out of the room, for those of us who have been putting in comments, we again appreciate the support that you have given to Kia. As I put on the message earlier, this is the first time that she has ever spoken out publicly about this particular bit of information. So it's something that I know is not easy, and it is wonderful to see, the amount of support and the amount of people that are taking the time to step in and to, give their support towards the situation, as it's not just situations with, the wrestling community that things like this happen. There are, there's abuse going on in all facets of our life, and, no one deserves to be able to, have to go through a situation like this.
There. As you can see, my son was the reason his little face, just imagine a 4-year-old Landon at the time, was the reason I left, was the reason I got out, was the reason that said if I don't, I would end up dead, and he would end up dead too. He was smart for a kid who did not talk or did not want to talk. But looking at this face now, this is why I'm still here. Steven, can I have you step into the camera, please?
Technically, you're at the edge of the camera, but close enough.
Okay. This is my other reason for leaving. He was the one that took the time to help in a situation that I was needing to get out of. He was the one that found another place for me to stay, for us to stay, for my older son and myself to stay. I know when I spoke to him and I said, I don't want to have to do this. I'm stronger than this. I don't want to have to come to you for help, but I need to get out of here. I need help. I need to know that if nobody else will listen to me, because at the time nobody was listening to me because I was angry, or I was bitter, or I was a mother, or I was black. But Steven stood up and he said, what do I need to do? How can I help you? What is it going to get? What am I going to have to do for you to get out of the situation? I said, I need a place to stay. I can't stay here with him. I cannot stay here with the person that's abusing me and could possibly be going to my son next. He said, that's fine. I'm looking for places right now. Just tell me what you want, and if you want to live with another person, or if you just want it to be you and Landon, I will make it happen. He went as far as finding a place that day, spoke to the woman that day, and spoke of my situation. And I'm grateful because she was a godly woman who took me into her home when she didn't have to, who heard my story. I want to take the time to thank, my mom for flipping the bill for me to get out of there. I stayed with her for 3 months just telling my story, and I've been told, by my best friend Monet and Nick and even my husband, Steve, and his mother, you need to tell your story. You need to be brave. You need to be courageous. You don't understand how many other people are out there going through this. So, with that being said, I said no to a lot of it. I said I don't think that nobody would listen. And when I found out that there were other people going through the same thing around me, I couldn't comprehend, the impact that I would have. And I've spoken out, not on grand stages, but enough for to get my word out. Enough for me to say that, I'm not alone. Enough for me to say it's not just me. It's not just women. It's men. It's all races and sexes and genders and sexualities that are going through the same thing, and we don't see it because we are so blind to turn an eye so quickly because of the differences. So with that being said, thank you for doing your research and getting me out, and thank you for being the rock at the time that I needed.
We love you.
We love you too. I love you too. And saying that, and in knowing that, I am better off today, even though it takes a very strong man to understand that it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of time to get me past everything that I've been through. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more. And there's so much more I could tell you. And I'm thinking about probably doing a part 2, but I don't know when. If you want to see that, let me know. Comment, email me, message me on any form of social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and I will continue on. But with saying that, I'm going to close this segment out with saying you're wanted, and you're needed, and you're loved, and you're cared for, and there's people out there who are wanting to help. Do me a favor, take the time to realize your self-worth and know that you are not alone. Know that you're not weak or worthless or hated or unloved. I looked at a YouTube video last night that I had been meaning to look at for the longest. It is Lillian Garcia. For all people that know her, she was an announcer with WWE for a very long time. She now has her own podcast that you can listen to or you can look at. It is known as It is known Chasing Glory, if I'm correct. And she had on someone that I told you I connected with, a wrestler. Take the time, look up Mia Yim, look up her story, look up Chasing Glory. Surviving Domestic Abuse was the title to it. So, with all that, look it up and listen to her whole entire story and where it starts. But when you get to 4942, listen into what she went through. One of her quotes throughout that whole interview was, "Silence is the abuser's weapon." A direct quote from Mia Yim, and she was correct on that. If you stay silent and say nothing, the abuser has that much power. If you hold it in and you don't do nothing, the abuser has that much power over you, even if they're not with you anymore. Also know that if you need someone, call a domestic abuse hotline. Google it, find a number. There is people out there who are willing to listen, to take the time, who want to help. With that being said, I'm going to leave you with those thoughts, and hopefully you know and you have a better understanding of the word abuse in all facets, and know that it's not something that you want to live through. It's not something you want to have happen to you or someone you love or someone you care for. With that being said, I want to take everybody that joined me today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting me. You just don't understand how much of a burden it is off my shoulder to know that I have people that support me and who love me and who care for me. With that being said, I want to say thank you, and I want to say I love you, and I hope to hear from you. If you're going through this situation, I'm here and I will listen to you. With that being said, y'all have a good day. Bye.